Midway through the season, let's look at who I think are either staying on next year, 50-50, or leaving the Pies. Let's get into it. Before we jump straight into it, remember the best thing or best way to support the channel is by buying the merch. Link is down below. Subscribing, hitting that like button, or sharing this video to other Magpie fans. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at all the players that are uncontracted. So that's free agents and non-free agents. There's 19 players at the moment that haven't got contracts for beyond the end of this year. So we know that there are a lot of free agents over 30. And there was actually just a lot of players just over 30 in general. And this is when they said that they'll start contract talk. So halfway through the year. What we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the players. I've got three categories. They're either playing on next year, 50-50 to either leave or stay on, depending on the year that they have, and who I have as leaving, getting traded, delisted, whatever you, so any sort of way you want to spin it. But let's start right now. All we've got to go on is the last 13 rounds and, you know, previous seasons and you know, where they sit in the team. The first guy I've got here is Steele Sidebottom. Now, Steele is having a fantastic season. Wouldn't be surprised if he's top 2 in the Copeland as of midway through the year. I've got him playing on for at least another year, and who knows if he can go on beyond that. But why give away these experienced guys just because they're experienced or too old? The next guy, Scott Pendlebury, 100% playing on. They have already started contract talks with him. He'll get another year at least. He'll break Boomer Harvey's record of the most ever games played in VFL AFL history. So that's going to be absolutely incredible. Would love him to get even more years, but give him one more year and see where he gets to. I think he only needs like 19 or so more games. But even, just not even that, just forget about the record at the moment. It's the way that he's been playing, and you just look at the Melbourne game. When we needed that experience to step up right at the end, it was Scott Pendlebury who stood up, and Steele Sidebottom, who were the on-field coaches, and they said, no, let us take care of it. We know what to do. We've been in this position a lot of times. The next guy here, who's a free agent because he was delisted, is Oleg Markov. Now, Oleg, it's a bit of a hard one. He's played that one game this year, which was the Kangaroos game. Came in as a really late emergency. This is his third club. I like Oleg because of what he brings to the team. You need those players that just pump up the team. Even if they're not playing, they're always ready to go, always willing to do, you know, what the coaches want. I've got him as 50-50, probably leaning a little bit more towards the leaving side. Remember that he was delisted at the end of last year and picked up as a rookie. So I've got him as 50-50. Maybe at the end of this this session, we'll go over the 50-50s and see, maybe try and put him into a category. Next guy, we've got Cox. I've got Cox as leaving. I think this is not delisted or anything. I think he'll retire at the end of this year unless another team sort of desperately needs a sort of ruckman forward like he is. But he has been absolutely phenomenal since he's been at the Pies. You know, a couple of low sort of games, but he has played quite a few games this season when we've needed him to. I don't know if we'll see him in the first team anytime soon with, you know, Dan McStay coming back, unless we really need a second ruck that's, you know, better than Dan McStay. But I don't think so at the moment. Is there still a place for him in the team? 100%. 100% there's still a place for him in the team this year. But beyond this year, I just can't see him playing another year. So I've got him as leaving. Jeremy Howe, okay. I've got Jeremy Howe as 50-50. I was just about to put him in playing on. He's playing phenomenally. But I think Jeremy Howe will make the call at the end of the year. Maybe if he gets another premiership, he'll leave. Or maybe even if he is having a good year, he just kind of says, you know what, I'm tired, or whatever it may be. I think this will be very much Jeremy's call at the end of the year. And I think I would love him to play on, so I'd give him another year contract, but I think it'll be a genuine 50-50 whether he stays on or retires, maybe goes to Tasmania, you know, if there's still going to be a team, and sort of helps them out in some capacity. Jamie Elliott, I reckon they're going to give him not even a 1-year contract extension. I reckon they're going to give him 2 just for the form that he's in. He's still relatively young for a 30-year-old. And it doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. Doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. He's going to have his career best goal tally, and I can't see why he doesn't do that next year. And then, you know, he's in the leadership group. He'll be training Will Hayes, training more of Bobby Hill, and these sort of guys coming through. So, why wreck a good thing? Give him a couple more years and see how he goes. Brody Mychek. Now, Checkers is an interesting one. Another one of those over 30 guys. I think Checkers is a 50-50 as well. I would love to see him play on, but I can see why, kind of like Jeremy Howe, he would want to maybe retire if he gets another premiership or something. Because I know that we can't keep all of these guys on. That's just not how football works. We can't keep all these guys on. He's another big man that's a little bit older. Maybe you give him one more year as sort of insurance. But I think, genuinely, I think this will be Brody Mychek's call. If it was my call, I'd give him another year. But trying to think of this, I don't know even what the word I'm trying to sort of look for. But, this is not what I want. This is what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking that it'll be 50-50 his call. Ash Johnson. Look, honestly, I love Ash so much, and he's one of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I do think that this will be his final year, especially with the, signing on Noah Howes as a forward, Charlie West coming on. Unless he can sort of maybe reinvent himself as a backman, I just can't see it working out. I would love to see him play football for another club. I think he has a lot to give, but I think 5 years at the club, I think his time might be up, unfortunately. But I say that with a heavy heart because I absolutely love AJ. Will Hoskin-Elliott. I think this is Will Hoskin-Elliott's final year. I think he's retiring at the end of the year. Is what I've been hearing anyway from a couple of people. I think Will's one of those guys where, he gives his all 100% of the time, and you need guys like that. But then you've got, Bo Macrae, who could sort of take his spot. You got Ed Allen, you got Lockie Sullivan, you got Lockie Schultz even. Some of these guys that are, Harry Perryman as it could play the Will Hoskin-Elliott Swiss Army knife role. I think Will has given a lot to this club, but I think this will be his final year. Billy Frampton, he goes on. There's no doubt about it. A couple year contract there. Charlie Dean. Charlie Dean is an interesting one. I got him as 50-50 at the moment. I got him as 50-50 because he could be maybe a trade commodity because you remember we do need picks. We do need picks and points for the three guys that we're bringing in, the two NGAs and the father son Antonio McGuan, possibly Ryan Loney as well. Charlie Dean has done amazingly in the VFL, but can't crack into the AFL side, and that's with Reef McInnes not being there. So when Reef McInnes comes back in next year, we might see a defender leave, and it might be Charlie Dean. But I do think that he has a lot to offer. If not Collingwood, another club would probably take him because he is a fantastic defender. Finn Macrae, I think this is the last year for Finn Macrae as well. Just can't get a good run at it, and I feel really sorry for him of the what could have been story. Maybe he needs a fresh start at a new club. Maybe he goes to, I don't know, someone like the Doggies, or I always say West Coast, or maybe the Root. Maybe not the Roos, but like the Doggies, or or West Coast, or some team that needs a mature sort of midfielder. If he can get his body right, he'll be absolutely phenomenal. For whatever reason, he just couldn't get things going at the Pies, and I think that's really sad because he, as Collingwood fans, we absolutely love Finn, and he has so much potential, but I just see him leaving at the end of the year. Iluru Smith, I've got Iluru Smith playing on. If Mason Cox is retiring, like I think he might, would only have Darcy Cameron as our backup ruckman, or sorry, as our full ruckman if we don't sign on these backup ruckmans. But I think Illaru Smith, came on as a mid-season draftee. I think he's got a lot to learn, but a lot to offer. His ceiling is really, really high, and that goes for Oscar Steen as well. I think Oscar Steen will play on. These two guys are fantastic. They're doing really well in the VFL. We know Oscar Steen is probably a chance to debut at some point this season, and that's why I think that Mason Cox will be retiring at the end of the year, because they're going to give more games into Oscar Steen or Illaru Smith over a Mason Cox when that sort of time comes. The next guy here, Lockie Sullivan. I've put Lockie Sullivan in 50-50 because, if memory serves me right, he was one of those players that we waited till right at the end of the year to re-sign. So I don't know if that meant that we were looking at maybe trading him off if we could get some picks for him or something else. But I think he could either be on the trade table or give him a contract extension. Again, I think when Lockie Sullivan comes in, especially off the bench, he got a full game last week. He plays his role very, very, very well. Is he the future of the Pies midfield? Especially with like a Tommy McGuan coming in, possibly playing a similar-ish sort of role. I don't really know. I'm a bit on the fence. I'm a bit on the fence with Lockie, but we do need youth. So Lockie could be the youth that we see, but I've got him as 50-50 at the moment. Noah Howes, we just signed him mid-season. It looks like he has a 6-month contract. I dare say they give him another year at least, just see how he fits in with the system, see how he fits in with Charlie West. Same with Rowan Steele, another young guy, 23 years old, playing off the wing. So if we lose some of these veterans, at least we've got some guys in the reserves that can step up, if we need them. Will Parker, I think Will Parker has been absolutely phenomenal in the VFL off that half-back line. I think Will's one of those guys. He obviously was a Cat B rookie playing cricket. He comes in, bit of a slow year last year. He did get a few games, but I thought this year, especially in preseason, is starting to look like a midfielder, like a big-bodied, half-back midfielder. I love everything that he's done in the VFL. Didn't he? He played the other week against the Roos? He played. And he didn't get a lot of touches, but he did some nice things. And I think Will Parker is definitely the future of the Pies. Now, the last guy, my boy, Tom Mitchell. I love everything about Tom Mitchell, right? We missed him last year. He was one of those guys that we needed in our team last year. And unfortunately, injuries got the better of him. Injuries got the better of him this year. But he is coming back. He is getting that aura back in VFL level. Mitchell is an interesting one. I think if his body can hold up, and it seems like it is, he can go on again. I don't think he retires, but I'm going to put him as 50-50 because I could see Collingwood giving him another year to give him a full year now that his body's right. Or I could see them trading him if they say, look, there's probably not a spot for you, but we're not going to delist you because we really like you, and if no one wants to pick you up, we'll take you as like maybe a rookie. Delist you and pick you up as maybe a rookie if no one's going to take you. So we're happy with that, but at the moment, you probably won't play a lot of AFL senior games. We'll probably put you on the trade table. So that's who I've got. Out of 19 players, I've got 9 getting re-signed for at least a year. Could be longer. And then I've got 6 players 50-50 who could leave, could stay. So 50-50, retiring and possibly a couple of trade targets. And then I've got 4 guys that I think are definitely finishing up in the black and white stripes. But let me know. We'll look back at this in November when all the lists are finalized again and see how we went. Let me know your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.